Okay, 1316 Jennifer Drive. Water leak started July 17th, thereabouts, while we were on vacation. It originally was flowing out in this section across the driveway and down, as well as down this way. As the water company came to look at it, they dug some holes, including this larger hole, and kind of isolated the water to come out in one primary location. We've set up a siphon after it was running across the driveway for several weeks to try to prevent further driveway. Where the water is currently coming out. And when you look up, you can see the neighbor's property line where the grass is drier. So a lot of water is getting into just this grassy area. And it's even overrunning in this area the siphon system that we have, because more water is coming out of the ground than is going into that hose. It's also under the driveway, such that the driveway stays wet all the time. All the darkness that's on there is water coming up through those cracks. And the wood is rotting that's on this line in the driveway as it's constantly being wet from down below. The road looking up, you can see some of these cracks were here already, but since the leak has happened, there's been a lot more degrading of the driveway, the loosening of the pebbles, and an actual sinking where the level is quite different from the right side of the driveway to the left, creating a hazardous situation. And as you come to the front of the driveway, you see there's actually water flowing right here from underneath the driveway out onto the road and going down the hill. We've got our siphon set up. This is the water that's coming from under the driveway here, and then that stops, and then here's the water that's coming from the hole at the top of the hill, or at the top of our property. And we've got it flowing down the road right now because our yard and the neighbor's yard became so saturated it was just flowing over the downhill neighbor's driveway. Front yard, over the last 5 or 6 weeks that this has been ongoing, today is August 25th, started on July 17th, is permanently saturated with water. It's squishy when you walk on it and dark and wet. Front yard, again, I was just saying how it's saturated with water from here to where the top of where those logs are across the front yard. Currently, the grass seems to be appreciating it, though I have concerns about how long the grass can remain saturated and still remain healthy if we're going to have root issues. You hear that? And I'm also unhappy with the fact that here's water. This is not the same water that's going through the hose. It's more water that's coming up from under the ground. And I don't like that we're currently unable to use our front yard with the children because it's too wet and muddy. So it's been about a month that we have not been able to use our front yard. For an example, I'm going to show what happens when I disrupt the siphon by elevating the hose above the level of the original location, and we'll see what happens to this hole where the water is coming out of. It's kind of slowly filling. Okay, it's starting to pool here and come down and follow this track that's wet all the time anyway. From the water that's underneath the water. Before it gets to this area, let me show you how saturated and wet this already is, just from the water that's actually coming up from underneath the ground, and it's following these tracks. Here, there's water following that track, and there's water coming down this way across. And it did this for, I don't know, 10 to 14 days or so unabated when this incident first occurred.